So now let's talk about making selections in AutoCAD, and for that I'll use this drawing which has a lot of different objects. Now to make a selection, all you need to do is just go to that object and click on it once and the object will be selected. Also, when the object is selected, you'll see all of these blue dots. These are called grips and the object will be highlighted like this. Now to select multiple objects, keep on clicking, and in this case you don't need to press Shift, Control or any other key on the keyboard. Simply keep clicking on multiple objects and they will be selected. Now if you want to remove all of these objects from selection, simply press Escape key. Now once again I'll make selection manually and I'll just select all of these one by one. Now this is a slow process of selecting objects. I'll tell you about a fast process as well in a moment, but first let's see what we have here. So we've got all of these 6 objects selected. Now if you want to remove only a selected object, maybe in this case this object, then press and hold your Shift key and click on this object. Don't click on these grips, just click anywhere on this object but not on the grips, and the object will be removed from selection. So I'll do this one more time. I'll press and hold my Shift key, and once again I'll click on this and this object will also be removed from the selection. Now if you want to remove all of these, press Escape key one more time. Now the second method of selecting objects, which is kind of like automatic selection method, is with the help of selection window. So I'll now click here towards this side of the screen and I'll click and let go my cursor. So don't click and hold your cursor, click, let go your cursor, and now move your mouse towards right and you'll see this kind of solid window with this blue shade. Now this is called selection window, and all the objects which are completely inside this window will be selected. So you can clearly see that every object inside this window as well as these small objects are completely inside and they are now selected. So if I click again, all of these objects are now highlighted, which means they are now selected. I'll press Escape key. Now in a similar way I can make a window here on this part of the drawing. So again I'll click and let go my cursor and then I'll make a window somewhat like this, and you can see every object inside this window will now be selected. So I'll click again and here it is. Now let's talk about the second kind of selection, and that's called crossing window. So for that I'll click at a point and then I'll let go my cursor and move my cursor towards left, and in this case I'm getting this kind of dashed window with this green color, and this is called crossing window. Now every object inside this window as well as objects which even touch the boundary of this window will be selected. So all the objects that you see inside this window along with some of these objects that even touch the boundary and they are even partially outside, they will be selected. So I'll click and you can see that not only these but also these objects are selected. Now there is a third kind of selection, and that's called lasso selection. So if you click at a point and hold your cursor, so click and don't let go your cursor, and then move your cursor towards right, you'll get this kind of freehand selection. Now this is called lasso selection, and you'll get this selection only when you click and hold your cursor. So again, if you click and move your cursor towards right, you'll get this blue kind of selection, and every object inside that selection will be selected. Now I'll press Escape and once again I'll do that. So I'll just click at a point and this time I won't let go my cursor. Again, click and hold your cursor. Now I'll move towards left, and what I'm getting is a crossing lasso selection. So everything which is completely inside as well as on the boundary of this selection will be selected. So this is what I have. Again, I'll let go my cursor and all these objects are now selected. So I'll press Escape to remove all these objects from my selection set. Now there are also other kind of selections. For example, if you click at a point, simply click and let go your cursor. Then if you move towards right, you get this window. If you move towards left, you get this one, which is called crossing window. So if you move to the right, selection window, move to the left, crossing window. But also we have other kind of windows, and you can see those simply here on the command line. So we have a thing called fence, then we have this window polygon and the crossing polygon. Let's select this window polygon, and now we can make a polygon something like this. So in this case you can carefully make a selection to include only your selected specific set of objects somewhat like this. Now press enter and all the objects inside that polygon will be selected. So I'll press escape and I'll click at a point one more time, and once again I'll go to the command line and I'll select crossing polygon. Now you can again make a polygon selection, but this time this is crossing polygon, which means all the objects which are completely inside as well as objects that even touch the boundary will be selected, somewhat like this. So press enter and well, all of these objects which are inside as well as on the boundary will be selected. Finally, let's talk about the fence selection. So I'll click at a point and now we have this thing called fence. I'll click on it and every object which is intersected by this fence will be selected. So you can see, well, all the objects which are being intersected, well, they are now included in our selection. So press enter and all these objects which are crossed by the fence are now selected. So these are some of the selection sets that you can use in AutoCAD, but mostly you'll use this window selection, which includes all the objects inside the window, or the crossing selection, which looks like this, where all the objects inside the window as well as on the boundary will be selected.